Today on Religion Hunters, we have a special on empires.
Welcome back, mates! Today's our special on the Ottoman Empire. Start off with geography. The Ottoman Empire was located in Turkey, Greece, Egypt, Bulgaria, and many more. In its peak, it was the largest of the three empires. Although there was a geographic and cultural divide due to its vast size. However, if we focus on the Asia Minor, where the empire originated, we can find it was dry, mountainous, and contained many forests in its southern region. Multicultural, multilingual, and multinational, at its peak it was controlling most of Southeast Europe, Central Europe, Western Asia, parts of Eastern Europe, and the Caucasus, also North Africa and the Horn of Africa. Osman Ghazi, or Osman I, was the leader of a group of conquering warriors who later formed the Ottoman Empire. The emperor or king was called the sultan or supreme ruler. He controlled the political and military units and controlled his bureaucracy through imperial council. What is dual monarchy? Dual monarchy is the Ottoman was famous for its wars, a series of conflicts between the Ottoman Turks and the Byzantines. The wars led to the final destruction of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire expanded as it started to gain control of the trade routes. From Europe, they exported woolen cloth, glassware, gunpowder, medicine, and clocks. They exported silk, furs, tobacco, spices, and cotton. The silver akshi, or the first form of currency in the Ottoman Empire, can be traced back to Osman I. The beliefs. Islam was the official religion of the Ottoman Empire. The Caliphate, the highest position of Islam, was claimed by the Sultan. The Sultan was required to be a devout Muslim and was given the literal authority of the Caliph. They were also Sunni. Their holy book was the Quran, and their God was Allah, all-powerful and all-knowing. The Ottoman Empire had social classes, and they were divided into Muslim and non-Muslim classes. The Ottoman Empire was split into 5 different levels. The first was men of the pen. They were scientists, lawyers, doctors, and judges. The second level was men of the sword. They protected the country, good with weaponry, like soldiers. The next was men of the negotiations, merchants, artisans, tax collectors. They didn't make that much money. Then was the men of husbandry, which was farmers and herders. Then was the slaves. Moving on to better things, women! Women had different rights based on their religion/positions, but social interactions were often limited to fellow women/family. They also held some political power and possessed a degree of freedom under Islamic law that was regarded as exceptional for the era. They had the rights to their own property, to acquire education in religious and scholarly fields, and to be financially independent. Family was important, and extended families often lived in the same neighborhood. The Sultan, though, had the largest family and many wives. The Ottoman Empire absorbed the cultures from their conquered lands and people. They inherited scientific knowledge from the golden age of the Muslim civilizations. Education was very important. All children, Muslim and non-Muslim, were given a great education. Math, cosmology, and literature and science were taught. Well-educated people had more merit, so they have careers that required more skill, therefore improving their social class. 5 reasons why the Ottoman Empire collapsed. First of all, when did it end? 1922. It had a series of weak rulers within a political and social order and was centered on the Sultan at the top. There was inactive sultans, religious experts, and commanders of the Janissary Corps. There was also competition within the elite factions that also led to struggles within the leadership within the empire. Provincial officials schemed with local landowners to scheme the Sultan of taxes due to him. Ottoman's economic dependence on the greatest European rivals began to increase. Western-made goods increased because of urban riots where members of artisan guilds took the leading roles due to competition from imported manufacturers from Europe. Military setbacks began to show as the Russian Empire made advances toward ports on the Black Sea and overtook poorly defended Ottoman lands. After a major uprising in Serbia 1804 and a great revolt in the 1820s, the Greeks regained their independence from the Ottoman rule, and Serbia did in 1867. Reforms were a dangerous issue. Sultan Selim III thought that bolder initiatives were needed if they were to survive, but his reforms angered a bunch of people. Muhammad II succeeded where Selim had failed. These reforms improved the Ottomans' ability to defend themselves from foreign aggressors, but they threatened the dynasty. Failure to solve big issues consumed time. Officers became caught up in factional fights, and that took up the time before World War I. 5 characteristics that made the Ottoman Empire great. The Ottoman Empire was one of the largest empires in history, which was both sustained and inspired by Islamic institutions. At its peak, it was ruled by Suleiman the Magnificent. The Ottoman Empire was highly centralized. The power was transferred into a single person, never split to rival princes. The empire was a hybrid civilization, which means the majority of the population were non-Muslims, so they were allowed to practice their own religion. The Ottoman Empire strived to make education one of the top priorities for children. Number 4, the Ottoman Empire was an Islamic government that originated in Anatolia. From the 14th to 16th century, religion spread with the Ottoman conquest to Balkan and Hungary. Number 5, the Ottoman Empire had a strong military. The first Ottoman army had been composed entirely of Turkish nomads, and they remained under the command of the religious orders, which converted most of them to Islam. We believe that the United States will collapse just like the Ottoman Empire did.
Empires typically last about 500 years before they collapse. The United States has only been around for about 300 years, and we're already facing struggles similar to that of the Ottoman. Much like the Ottoman, we've experienced declining economy in both the Great Depression of the 1930s and the Great Recession of 2008. These led to unemployment rates going up, putting more citizens in debt along with our country as a whole.
Not only did the Ottoman Empire struggle economically, it struggled with change. The US has had similar issues with that. For example, we can't reform our justice system. Yes, change is difficult, but it must happen. The Ottoman Empire was once called the sick man of Europe. As the Western civilization slowly broke down the empire by taking its territories and encouraging movements of independence against it, the Ottoman Empire slowly collapsed. The US, arguably, has been called the sick man of the 21st century due to its issues as our government center, declines in economy, warfare, and so on.